Hello and welcome to this third video in a series looking at things to consider when designing a house. If you haven't watched the first two videos, you might want to watch those now before proceeding with this one. Just for general context, as I have with the other videos, I am a chartered architectural technologist and a lecturer at Ulster University. This video is focusing on aspects that relate to first year undergraduate level study, and it is based in Northern Ireland, so some of the aspects will be quite specific in that context. However, there are many issues that are common in other areas, and I trust the video will be useful to all who watch. When designing a house, I would first of all recommend looking for inspiration, so maybe close to where you live or somewhere that you have been recently. You've maybe seen some materials or some houses or some buildings and that appeals to you. Go online, look at magazines. Magazines even have websites and things, so the likes of design.com or other websites, architectural journals can be used, and even a general browse of architectural photos and materials will bring up lots of things that might be of interest to you. So some of these images here are projects from the UK, not all of them necessarily though. The top left hand one certainly is one from Northern Ireland. The chartered architectural technologist designed this one, and you can see that it's quite a contemporary look, but also giving some reference to the old style white rendered cottages that would have been around in Northern Ireland, but obviously with a much more modern twist. Bricks, timber, different types of materials, rain screen cladding, maybe zinc cladding, and that one on the top right hand side. Materials can be laid in lots of different ways or fitted and built in different ways to make them interesting. Brickwork, for example, can be put in different bonding techniques. Timber can be laid horizontally, vertically, diagonally. You can have different types of joints. There can be a mix and match of different materials that are complementary or contrasting. The image at the top right there has a balcony above the front door, obviously with a door out onto the balcony as well. The bottom left hand photo there shows housing in a context where there are some trees and planting, some green space, a common area, and that all helps it look much more appealing. So definitely have a look online, have a look in other ways where you can look at materials and be inspired for your project. Very important aspect to think of is the accommodation schedule, as already mentioned in video 2. You really need to look at this and keep going back to this when you're designing the house, just to make sure that you are sticking to the areas that are given as a guideline there. Certainly in practice, you might find you would be working on a project where these areas will be strictly adhered to, but I suppose at first year level there might be a little bit of leeway here, but don't overdo it. Provide all of these different rooms in a way that will make sense, so try and think things through, and that leads us on to the next step here, which is looking at a very basic adjacency diagram. So you could sketch something out like this. On the right hand side we have the open plan kitchen, dining, living room, but the main frontal aspect to the house is where you would come in the front door. So coming in maybe into a hallway with stairs leading upstairs, doors through possibly to the kitchen, to the dining. Do you want a door out from the kitchen or the dining out the back in some way? The utility room should certainly be close to the kitchen. It may be that you want to have an external door from the utility room out. It may be that you want to place the WC with the downstairs toilet as required in Northern Ireland regulations. You might want to place that beside the utility room. Alternatively, you might want that near to the front door. In this particular instance, I have used an integrated garage, so the access to the garage that's attached to the house is from the utility room, and obviously from the garage you need to be able to get the car in and out. So there's lots of different things to think about there. Because this is a semi-detached house, you should also be considering where the wall might be that the adjoining property will fit up against. So that is the ground floor. Then thinking of the first floor, the hallway and the landing area with the stairs leading downstairs is central to this image. We have a study upstairs along with 3 bedrooms. Then we have a bathroom and then the master bedroom. And the master bedroom provides access to the ensuite. It may be that you want a balcony or something on the house, so that could be over the master bedroom or beside the master bedroom. Maybe not always the best idea just in this context of the site here. However, you may wish to think about these things yourselves and do some more sketches for context, just to let you know that the sketches I have done is using an app called Concepts. I have used this app on an iPad Pro, but it is available for other platforms as well. Developing a little bit further then from those initial concept ideas, we can start to firm up areas and start to think about what would be in those areas. With the utility room, it's definitely worthwhile considering how much you access to and from the utility room. So just in the image here, if there's a door between the kitchen and the utility, a door between the utility and the outside, a door into the WC, and a door into the garage, it's not leaving a big amount of space for things actually in the utility room. So do you want a washing machine, a tumble dryer, a sink? What else do you want in the utility room? Maybe this arrangement will not work, but it starts to present these things to you. Again, the kitchen, dining, living room area works quite well with this arrangement, but is that what you want? Do you want to be able to maybe arrange it in a different way? Another thing definitely to think about is you don't want the WC too close to the kitchen for reason of smell and things like that. Another aspect to consider, certainly in the Northern Ireland context, is that between the hallway and where the stairs are, we need to have a wall separating that from the kitchen for fire protection purposes. So even at these early design stages, there are some technical aspects that you need to consider. Also with the garage, there's a room above the garage. So that's one of the reasons why we've included this idea in this brief. Because of that, you will have complications when it comes to building control and making sure that there's fire protection for a room above a garage like that. Looking at the upstairs then, we have a bit more space and a bit more detail in relation to these bedrooms. It is quite tight to fit all these in, and sometimes there's little tricks and tips can be used, maybe putting one of the doors at a 45-degree angle just to get into the bedroom. That will affect the likes of bedroom 2 there and the bathroom, and that makes it a bit more complicated if you're trying to fit furniture into certain areas, so please be wary of that. Definitely within your spaces you should be putting standard sizes of furniture, and the Metric Handbook is very useful in that regard. It will give you standard sizes for beds and baths and toilets and all the different things that you need. I have not put any furniture in the study, but all the other rooms have bits of furniture in there just to try and help with the arrangement and understanding if it will work from a functional point of view. What you definitely need to make sure is that you have door access at all the relevant positions. Moving on to thinking about the elevations then, this is a front elevation view. Even at this stage we can start to think about where the materials are going to be and thinking about finishes, and down to the level of detail looking at roof lights there, and thinking about the position of the windows, the doors, and even the finishes. So here we have the roof finish sketched on, and we even have the down pipes indicated here with 2 grey lines. Moving on to the rear elevation, I've shown here like a sliding door. It's useful to try and point that out in some way by putting arrows on. These are just rough sketches at this point, so when you get to a later stage, you definitely want to be putting more information on the windows. The side elevation helps us appreciate things a little bit better with two different roof levels. On the rear elevation here we have the fascia board, and then we have the barge board on the side elevations, and then the walls shown in position. One other very important aspect is to think of ground level and making sure that you have it clearly shown. However, it's probable that you should also include a little bit of a distance between where the door is and the outside ground level. In Northern Ireland and the UK and in many other countries, you do have the requirement for level access, but there's also a requirement in the UK context anyway, that you should be thinking about the level of your damp proof course, the DPC. So you should really be showing a distance of 150 millimeters between the internal floor level and the outside ground level. I have omitted it just on these rough sketches at this stage though. One other aspect that people do find a little bit difficult is just how to show the roof. So try and think of it in 3 dimensions. Have a look at different houses around you and the arrangement of the roof. What were shown on the elevations was what is called a gable end roof. So in this case here, the brickwork is built right up, and you have this triangle that sits on top of the main part of the masonry construction, and the brickwork carries right up. So on the front elevation, on the rear elevation, the roof will overhang a little bit, and the brickwork will continue up that line. It's just hidden in behind the roof on the front there. A full hipped roof is different. So in this case, the roof changes, or it changes from a wall to a roof at this point, and it's angled up at a 45-degree angle. So on the side, you will actually see a fascia right across at the same level as it is on the front and on the rear elevation. The roof height is still the same, but it's pitched back. One of the reasons for doing something like this is to provide a bit more light to an adjacent property, or maybe just to soften the look of the property if it's in an area where there's other things to consider. A half hip roof is sort of in between those two, so the wall continues up to a halfway point, but then it's a angled in roof at that stage. So this is the side elevation. One of the things that does need to be considered here is where the rainwater will go once it reaches the bottom of that roof. So what do you do if you put a gutter on there, and where does the downpipe go, or the rainwater pipe? Do you dress it round onto the roof, or is there some way of taking it down to ground level on that side elevation? The front and the rear would be mirror images of one another, looking like this. And again, this angle would be maybe 45 degrees. It just helps to soften the look maybe of the dwelling. There are definitely different other options out there, like monopitch, flat roof, green roof. Lots of different things to think of in terms of roof option, but this helps hopefully in terms of thinking of the 3D aspect of roofs that people struggle with sometimes. When it comes to the next stage then, beyond sketching, I've shown something that's been drawn up in AutoCAD here by one of my students previously. Sometimes the plot, or where the house is on the plot, can be shown as a floor plan. Sometimes it's shown as a roof plan. It depends on the purpose of what you're trying to do. But this student has shown some entrance gates with either bushes or hedges at the front, and grass, and different things at the back of the site like timber decking, some tables and chairs. I think that's maybe a bin store. So it's useful if you are able in AutoCAD to start to draw these things up and present them nicely with a title block and information on there. Also, the floor plans and elevations are taken to the next stage and drawn up further with the cross section. Show your cross section through the building accurately and show the elevations with some annotations. Other videos on my channel show how to do this aspect in much more detail, the plans, the elevations and the sections, so it might be worthwhile looking at those. Thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully this short series of videos has been of use. Thank you.